And welcome back. We're now coming into
Hey, you're
game...
not Jake.
I'm not Jake. I'm not. I'm Ollie.
Oh, hey.
He's gone. We don't need him anymore.
No,
That's
we don't.
fine. He easily replaced, as as some might have said. I mean, you got Chronicler in to do a couple of his games play-by-play earlier on. Had Greyheart, and now you've got me, whereas only Saga has stepped in for you.
So far.
There's correlation there. There must be some sort of result coming in here, but
Maybe.
off of that previous game, we've got the MVP. We'll just go into that shortly, but that was, I mean, the ending was pretty surprise. Scoot getting that inhib, we don't see the game ending immediately off of that, but them being able to just stop the recalls coming through means he is going to be the one getting the victory for them.
Yeah, and that's why he'll get the MVP, which is absolutely deserved. And it was just a great read to go for that inhibitor. I thought that it was going to be like, you know, we'll get the inhibitors, we'll try and make them pull back. But instead, it's when, you know, screw it, we can go for the end here. Beely TB's in. They managed to deliver just solid performance and a big upset, but credit to Enclave, they managed to find it.
And now we'll move on to the next match, which is going to be MnM versus Fnatic Rising, I believe. This is, of course, because Fnatic Rising couldn't defend the tower, so they're back into the R8, and they will be against MnM. And I want to say all of us have predicted MnM to win this.
I don't think that is exactly the case. I'm not sure.
I
can't remember. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. It's really bright. The cover's falling off the light, so it's really bright. I'm getting blinded a bit here.
Still falling off. Oh well.
Yeah. Oh well. Whatever. We'll move on. I just look like I'm bathed in some holy light, but that's what either MnM or Fnatic need if they're going to win this one, because obviously Fnatic are coming off a loss, but MnM, it would be an upset for them to beat Fnatic Rising, who've been so dominant, shared with XL, the only ones to take a tower throughout this summer season. Okay,
let's take a look at the MnM roster. Of course, in the top lane, we have got only Angel, who has really been impressing me this split. Nolty, the jungler. Chibs in mid. Yusa as the AD. Dogan on support.
Yeah, pretty solid roster. A bit of a collaboration between last MnM and some of the Diabolus players. And then we do have the Fnatic Rising roster, which is here. Shikari in the top lane, NG in the jungle. As you saw before, MagiFelix is back. X-Might AD carry and Prosper support. Pretty stacked roster, very similar to the winners from last split. But they didn't manage to beat out XL earlier today. And now they have to face MnM, but are arguably the next hardest challenge in the UK scene for them.
And I believe the matchup to watch for this match is Nolty. It's Nolty versus NG in the jungle, because, I mean, we're on the Nolty hype train right now. He's certainly turning up his performance.
Absolutely, and I think I was one of his biggest critics, particularly on his Elise. I think on Olaf, he has looked much more significant. He's looked much more impactful. PFI, who we praised earlier, got destroyed by Nolty's Olaf in the early game, so I think that might end up being a contested pick or a ban away, but NG is equally, even in the XL game that they lost, has some great engages on the Gragas and was a big pivotal point for that team.
Yeah, and still, you know, stepping up for those shoes which Fnatic lost with Dan. And I think he's been doing pretty well. I mean, they did get the Tower Champion on the previous week, so they're still a formidable opponent.
Absolutely, still a formidable force, and they've managed to handle things well from losing Dan. We're going to have a look at a little bit of some of the players coming off Nolty. This was actually against Fnatic last time they went head-to-head, which Fnatic did win, but Nolty had some great early performances again on this Olaf. Chases NG down here after counter-ganking him and Shikari, counter-ganking. And he takes them both down, gets a double kill.
And this is a level 1 play. Yeah, forcing the flash early and then going into the jungle on the invade is just really nice from them. Nolty picking up the kills.
And this was when he crushed PFI again on that Olaf. He found him in his jungle in the early levels, and then he continued to just make his life an absolute hell. This is a situation where up against Special, and we were concerned that what would happen when the Olaf was banned away, but a great outplay there lands all of the abilities onto Special, manages to take him out, and it was actually, they put Special pretty far behind in the early stages of this one.
And it's stealing the Fiddlesticks ult there, just demonstrating why Sylas is so powerful as a champion, but utilizing it very well indeed. Tried to get an emergency repair of that light, but it has instantly failed on us, which is fine.
It's okay. Which, whatever. I'm slowly getting melted. Yeah, it feels like I'm outside in an average British day.
God, it is incredibly hot today.
It is so warm, and I'm from Newcastle, so it's a lot cooler up there. But having to come down to London and just get roasted was not fun. But speaking of roasting, Nolty did a lot, even towards XL. Did manage to find Shannon on the back end of his play, but it just showed even against the stronger teams, even against these big names like the likes of Hjarnan, he's still able to find these potential outplays, these engages, and I think his confidence coming back from some really interesting Elise games is something that you got to praise.
And what other matchups do we want to look at? Nolty, of course, being the key one, but coming into this draft, of course, being on patch 9.14, are there any picks outside of that jungle that you really want to be watching for?
I think it'd be interesting if Kiana I expect it to be banned, but I think Kiana,
yes.
Both of these mid laners would love to play. Magifelix, he's happy to play things like the Aatrox, the Akali, the Aurelia. Kiana seems right in his wheelhouse. Chibs as well, he is the assassin player. He loves playing Akali whenever it's up, but it has actually already been banned away from him, so I feel like Kiana could be a big one for him to take. The Azir already off the cards away from Magifelix. Interesting to see. It does mean that Corki is sort of available as a comfortable blind, but I don't feel like that is Chibs' sort of champion. Magifelix, however, has had a lot of good games in it. Another Chibs champion being banned away, which is that LeBlanc, so very much targeting his pool, but then in reverse, we do see the Azir and the Yasuo, and although Yasuo is a flex, we have tended to see Fnatic put it more towards the bot lane. And Corki, again, they are really hammering down on him. They're both teams, absolutely. So we were talking about jungle being the matchup to watch. They clearly see it as the mid lane is the matchup to watch. A lot of picks still open and available because of this. We have the Nico, the Yuumi, the Aurelia still on the cards and going to be pickable by either side. Just depends what his last banner is. It's going to be the Yuumi, so Kiana still available, Aurelia still available, Aatrox, Nico. A lot of picks, but MnM can only take one, and they will look towards that Aurelia. It is something that only Angel can play as well as Chib, so definitely there as a flex, but now it goes with Fnatic Rising. They have 2 picks here to secure, and like I said, a lot of strong things on the cards still available. Question's going to be, would they play that Kiana?
Certainly. I mean, the win rate is nutty right now, so I feel like it's a logical pickup if you do actually play it. And the answer to the Aatrox question, is he going to be nerfed with the revive coming through? I mean, no. He looked almost stronger in that previous game, so that might be something that gets locked in, but it's not going to be done so far through the draft as the Karma and the Sejuani come through.
Yeah, really safe picks coming out from Fnatic and not showing very many cards. The Sejuani makes sense as a denial because Aurelia Sejuani is such a strong combo. You can easily stack the passive and just stun them, chain stun them and get a ton of damage. The Karma is really strong as a flex, but I feel like it isn't really a massive pick for Magifelix, but I think because it is available as a flex, not sure what's going on there. Because it is available as a flex, it means it can be moved about. It does mean that if they keep banning away mid laners, they can just put it in the mid lane. And then very quickly we see the Silas go over to Nolty, which is something he had great success on. We saw it in the highlight clips. He's really a strong performer on that. Now it comes down to what else MnM want to pick up for the last one of this rotation.
And Silas did get quite heavily nerfed in terms of the ultimate cooldown.
I think the ultimate cooldown late,
still strong.
It's a big one, but it only really affects you when you hit level 16. He did get nerfed a bit earlier, but it's not as much. But the Cassiopeia is my big one to talk about. The fact that you can, miasma at such a short range means you can deal with these close range assassins and bruisers. And also the amount of healing on a Twin Fangs now means she has so much to stay in the later game team fights. An absolute monster. It does sort of confirm where I expect the lanes are going to be, but they could still technically flex the Cassiopeia top, or even bot lane actually. I have seen it be played a bit bot lane, and I know Yusa is the sort of person who would play it. So although this does seem like it's a mid lane pick for Chibs, it can still be flexed. And then Aatrox picked up, again, a flexible pick. Magifelix has been the one to play it so far when we've seen it. It'll be interesting to see how this pans out. Nautilus taken away as one of the first bans this next rotation.
I think it was the first game of the day we saw Sejuani was played support. We're not going to see that this time round as Yasuo is banned away, and that's probably something Fnatic wouldn't play, but they're certainly focusing on the supports right now in the bans, and Prosfez Shen gets taken away.
Yeah, which makes sense. We've seen a lot of teams put a lot of respect to it. It didn't quite have as much impact up against XL in that earlier game. The ults just didn't really do much. Did find some good taunts though, however, but it was not exactly what we were looking for from this pick that has been such a dominant one for him. And it's interesting to see that Kiana just has not been touched at all, despite the win rate. I think a big part of that was it was very late, the news that came in that she would be enabled. Teams didn't really get a ton of practice. And although we saw a ban in game 1 and game 2, I think both teams are just not really willing to take a pass to because they feel like maybe a bit harder to execute on a champion that has such a high skill cap compared to the Yuumi, which everyone is quite used to playing.
I mean, if you want to talk about a champion that's not difficult to play, I would lean towards Yuumi, that's for sure. You don't need much practice on her.
Yeah.
But I think if there was anyone that was going to play Kiana, Chibs would be one of those mid laners to have picked it up and got the practice in early. At least favoring stuff like LeBlanc is kind of an assassin-y play style, so we might see it come out, but unlikely, like you said. Now, as they're into the second phase of the draft here, Ezreal is going to get locked in.
Yeah, Ezreal gets locked in, which means if it's paired with a Karma, a lot of poke, a lot of range damage. Civil off the cards as well means you don't have that definite answer as a scaling potential. Do you see the Pyke picked up? Something else that actually got changed as well. And
yes,
I've seen a little tweet come out. I believe this is from MnM. It's quite cute. I like it. I like a lot of MnM's content. We'll see what they're looking to do. But the Pyke did get changed in this patch, and we do see the Jace come in. So this does, I think, confirm my suspicions that this is a bot lane Cassiopeia. The grounding very effective against the Ezreal. And as well with the Pyke is that you get so much more gold generation now in this patch because he gets an extra cut for himself on top of the previous money distribution. So Shogun's going to get a load of money. Yusu's going to have a ton of scaling. And in the end, top lane, they take the Ornn for Shikari, which I think can do okay in the Jace because it is quite bulky, hard to bully out, especially since Jace has had some early game nerfs. But it's definitely going to be, I expect, an only Angel controlled lane, especially when Jace is such a big pick for him. We have the Aatrox against Aurelia mid. Being backed up by the Sejuani gives advantages, but the one to watch for me is this bot lane. A lot of poke coming out from Matty and Prosper on this Ezreal Karma, but up against a Cassiopeia Pyke, that's a lot of scaling between them.
Absolutely. Those top laners, they fit the playstyles of both of those laners. When people talk about Shikari, generally they say he's great at like neutralizing the lane. You don't tend to see him on the carries as much, and that's, you know, Ornn will probably do a decent job, at least we hope, whereas only Angel is looking to carry a lot of the time, so Jace is great for him.
Yeah, and I mean, that's something that does concern me sometimes about Shikari's playstyle, is that he's very much a defensive player, and instead of picking him something against Jace that may be able to punish it, he just goes, right, I'm going to play defensive, and he is a brick wall. He is someone who can withstand a lot of pressure, and Ornn is a pick that will scale up a lot of effective team fight and gives the extra items out to his team, but you have definitely said to Only Angel, look, you can take this lane in phase, you can have control. But now the burden's on Only Angel to sort of find the aggression, but so far, he's very much been a player to do so.
Yeah, and I think we've seen him on Kennen a lot recently, right?
Yeah.
Not going for that pick. Was it banned? I don't think it was.
Don't think it was.
No, so just choosing not to go for that.
Yeah, opted not to, which is... I mean, it's hard to unwind the decisions. It does mean that their damage is very much coming from their bot lane and the Aatrox. A lot of team fighting potential, though, and I think their top side, the Ornn and the Sejuani, have so much CC, which they can look to try and set up the rest of the team to carry.
But we are on to Summoner's Rift now. Fnatic looking to make a play inside of MnM's bot side jungle, likely just looking for the deep vision. I don't see them actually catching Shogun out here, of course. He has his
free
E if he
klepto
really
stacks,
needs
though.
to use it.
Free klepto stacks.
Yeah, free gold.
Money in the bank. But yeah, I feel like Ezreal and a Karma will have the lane pressure against the Cassiopeia and a Pyke, but they just scale up so well. Cassiopeia got, obviously, the miasma you can put in a minimum range, so it's going to be very effective against the likes of Magi Felix. Even against like NG's Sejuani and the Ornn, you can stop them from being able to dash and engage. And if you miasma the Ornn when he's trying to charge, obviously with his ult, he just won't be able to proc it again. But it does mean that Sylas has a lot of good ults to choose from across the board here, which is my sort of concern. But fortunately, they have cut down that cooldown late game, so not going to be as much as a problem. He just poisons all three, but they're unrelenting. They know they've been spotted here. They're being poked out, and yet they're still wanting to look for it.
This is going to be interesting. Shogun gets the Bone Skewer onto NG, so that's at least half of his health gone already.
Osprey's just trapped.
Forced to flash out there. MnM, they stay resilient and they defend their red buff.
I'm not really sure about the decision. Like, you knew you were being spotted out. Used to poison you twice, and they still go for it. And Prosper just burns his flash for essentially nothing. And I said that the advantage is going to be towards Matty and Prosper in this early laning phase. But you're in a situation where now without a flash, you're very vulnerable to the Pyke. If you get pulled in, if you get stunned on the back of that, you will be in trouble.
And Bone Skewer once again. Shogun connecting onto Frostfair. That's 2 for 2 so far, so that's certainly nice for him. Yusa taking so much damage here in the early phase. Ignites are getting dropped down. Yusa having to flash away. Is he going to be able to survive through that one? It's in fact Matty that falls and gives over first blood to Fnatic.
Yeah, the poison of the Ignite is just enough to take them down. Shogun's still looking.
Oh yeah, teleport's coming through now. Shogun needs to make the escape and does have the flash available. And that was just Matty coming through.
Yeah, and I said they should have the advantage, but Maddie and Prospero just give it away in the early levels. They just do not deliver. And they end up trading a free kill over the side of Shogun, which is just not what you want to look for. Actually, Engage comes in.
Yeah, the Chibs getting a good trade-off here. Don't see him going under the tower, though, with that health bar. We see Nolty off to the side, so this could be a dive onto Magifelix, but it might be a bit too risky. He does back away over to that crab.
Yeah, and the big thing is that Chibs does not have the Ignite opted for the teleport, so the chance of him looking for an all-in that situation is lowered pretty significantly. Bit of an interesting one with how much sustain Magifelix has that they didn't opt for the Ignite.
All right, Chibs shoves in the wave here, so clearly demonstrating his lead so far in this early game. How does this lane sort of progress as we go through the game?
I think the team fighting is favored towards the Aatrox just because of how powerful his ult is, if you can get the resets. But I think the Aurelia has the pressure in the early levels. You can easily set up that stun, and because you can dash the minions so much, it's hard to land those sweet spots. And it's very hard to ever land an Infernal Chains on the second mark. And you can see here, you land the stun, very easy to all in. I think he actually might have been caught out there, but NG doesn't have to come in. Shikari.
Yeah, getting knocked up. Shikari gets the fire down onto him. Flash auto attack, getting the outplay.
And Shikari just shows why he is so strong. And he's one of the best top laners, if not the best in a lot of people's opinions in the UK. Because even on all into Jace, he's just unstoppable. He finds the strength, and the base damage from Ornn is the big thing there. If you get the knockup, if you get the empowered Brittle, and you can just land enough damage to take out someone like a Jace.
Yeah, really, really impressive from him. I talked big about Only Angel earlier on, and now I'm like, kind of eating my words, but I'm sure he'll certainly be able to come back from that. Players have mistakes, and Jace is one of those champions who, ignore that, play through it, get your farm. I'm going to be deleting half the health of people later on in the game anyways.
Yeah, and that's a big thing for me, is the fact that you have Cassiopeia and a Pyke in the later stages. I'm a little bit concerned for Fnatic, just because that Miasma and the Petrifying Gaze make it so hard to teamfight against the Cassiopeia. I mean, it's Fnatic. I know that they have the potential to find these correct team fights, but you have to reliably CC that Cassiopeia if you want to come out ahead. Especially since all she has to do is throw a couple of Twin Fangs, and then Shogun's going to be in ult range. But the big point for me is once this Pyke is level 6, there's so much potential to pick up gold across the board. You want to force skirmishes just because no matter how they come out, even if you fall behind, as long as you get a Pyke ult or two, you'll just win out in terms of gold. It's absolutely.
Okay, this time Only Angel doing a bit better in the trade.
But it was about an even trade, despite him landing all his damage and the minions on the side of Only Angel. And I think we underestimated the power of this Ornn. He's just so tanky.
Chibs just constantly dashing about there, making it so hard for Magifelix to land stuff, and yet he's on half health. It just shows you, Aatrox just does so much damage.
Yeah, it does give an opportunity to recall now. Does have the ultimate as well. And that's a big thing, is that if you have the backup of your jungler, you definitely have enough burst to take out all...
NG looking for this. All of the Forge God does come down, getting the knock up. The stun comes through as well from NG, and Only Angel is going to be falling here. No way to escape it, and the stun secures it.
Easy setup on this Jason. They are absolutely punishing him for that pick. You want to have the pressure in the lane. You want to push up. You want to find some control and get onto that tower, but you get punished. There's so much CC between this Ornn and this Sejuani, and without a flash, you're so vulnerable.
And Nolty showing up in this bot side should make Fnatic retreat a little bit, but I don't realistically see a dive coming out, especially with Shogun taking so much damage. The tower shot.
He's just going to get rooted here.
There. Yeah, you said MnM just lost that trade hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they were looking for the tower play-ins. They didn't manage to get anything from it, and they just take so much poke from this Ezreal Karma. And this is why you pick the spot lane. The trade potential is huge. And they're just able to zone off the Cassiopeia and the Pyke. And this is how I expected the lane to go initially. Was a bit thrown up in the air by the early play from Matty and Prospero, but they've started to regain control.
NG showing mid. Magifelix popping the ult early. NG doesn't get the knockup from his Q. Chibs under his turret getting stunned up. Using the W is a really nice Vanguard's Edge. Going to force them to retreat. NG's health bar ticking very low. Now Nolty coming in, misses the chains, but Magifelix is still taking so much damage from Chibs, and the flash forwards secures the kill.
Just a huge play coming out from Chibs. He avoided everything that he could. The great dash to dodge away from the Infernal Chains pullback, and in the end, he just has enough sustained damage to cut down MagiFelix. A great performance from Chibs here, and NG is walking away really unsuccessful with that gank.
Aurelia just hurts with that passive so much. And only Angel, once again, he's a level down, but he's losing his trade quite considerably. Jumping back in on him, it's so important to play around that pillar. And you see only Angel doing it there with his to the skies, going back in onto Shikari to ensure the knock-up doesn't come through.
Yeah, it does mean that he isn't able to find the knock-up and extend that trade, but Shikari has Ignite because of that spellbook. His ult is coming up soon. I feel like NG could just path towards topside and they just kill him again. Flash still not available for only Angel. I feel like that's an easy kill to take. Yeah,
absolutely. Ocean Drake is on the bottom side of the map right now, though, so that could be something that Nolty tries and responds with, and that being such a crucial early game dragon might end up being a bit bad for Fnatic, but we'll have to see how it plays out.
Absolutely, NG did path towards bot side. It's picking up blue buff himself. Would be nice for Aatrox to get the CDR, but not too much of a priority right now. And Crossfaze, wait in the wings. See if we can find some use. And now level 6. Shogun going to be pretty close. That's where this lane starts to be really concerning because Ezreal Karma, the ult power spikes aren't that significant. You have to find the right situation to find a true stop barrage. A lot of channel time means it's easily dodgeable, and the Karma doesn't get too much power from hitting 6, whereas Cassiopeia Pike, those are some massive power spikes.
Yeah, the Petrifying Gaze, the only concern though is Xmati might just be out of your range when you try to use it. If he's only damaging you with his Qs, then that could be the case. So then you're looking for Shogun to try and pull him in with the Bone Skewer. But Nolty camping this brush. Gets Shikari's ultimate, Pull of the Forge God. He's going to call it yet. Doesn't look like only Angel wasn't close enough.
Yeah, so he will just steal away the ult. Now that's a massive team fighting tool, and he forces Shikari's flash, so you can't be as aggressive in that lane matchup. NG going to start up the Ocean Dragon in return. It looks like Nolty is walking down. MagiFelix reacts by moving towards where his jungler is, and all of Fnatic can collapse on that dragon.
Ocean Drake, got an ult into the top lane here. Shikari looking for the solo kill, gets the knock-up down on to only Angel. Red team do secure the dragon, and now flashing away.
Why would you stopwatch then?
That's got to be a fumble, a misclick or something. Knocks him back into the turret though, and looks like he will survive now in the bot lane. Ultimates are coming out from both these teams, but Prospere is going to be falling along with Xmati. MnM get 2.
Yeah, huge fight coming out. Shogun engages it, and then he finds the follow-up. Both of the Fnatic bot lane fall, and when you have a Cassiopeia, that is a huge asset to get. She scales so well, especially with the buffs.
Oh, yeah, someone says it in chat. He stopwatched the Ignite damage. But
I feel like you could just outrun it. The Ignite wasn't going to kill him. He set it up so that Shikari could run up and brittle him. Like, Shikari wasn't in range to auto-attack.
He's stunned up. He's playing a bit of a dangerous game here, but he feels safe because he has NG on the side.
Like, he wasn't going to die to the Ignite. I'm not cancelled. He wasn't going to die to the Ignite, and Shikari wasn't in range to proc the Brittle. I feel like the stopwatch just allowed him to potentially get in range to proc the Brittle. I think it was a mistake, but you know.
That was a really nice two-shot barrage there.
Yeah, interrupted usage recall. It's frustrating, but in the end won't do too much. And you're going to look for this Rift Herald right now.
This is good for them because they did get the Ocean Drake. Yes, they lost a couple kills, but now getting the second objective on the map would certainly be nice for them. But MnM are looking to contest this. NG is very low. Dashes over the wall, and Nolty, he's going golden. He's not going to fall quite yet. Jumping back over. Who's the first casualty of the fight? It is Nolty. So Fnatic look like they've got the Eye of the Herald. Crossfair is also going to fall, and NG comes through to pick that one up, but it looks like he'll pay with his life.
Yeah, Shikari, he's just left alone here. No flash. Easy pickup for you, sir.
Yeah, getting him with the Twin Fangs. That was certainly nice for MnM, but again, Fnatic are getting the objectives here, so it's really just a trade-up of what you prefer, the kill gold or those objectives.
Kill gold, absolutely. Especially when you look at how much gold is being funneled onto Yusa. This is not a good place for the early game to be going already. Cassiopeia is going to be monstrous, and with the changes, her healing scales so well in the Twin Fangs. You go Domination second, and that means you just heal an obscene amount. We think Aatrox heals a lot, but the fact that you're going to be Twin Fanging for hundreds of damage and then you also heal for a massive percentage of that, it's really scary. And it definitely puts a timer on the game for Fnatic, but the fact that they're throwing a lead away, Kari's TPing in.
That's a early teleport. And Yusa sticking around. I feel like he could have escaped this one. He's going to try and outplay it, but I don't realistically seeing it happen. He has a lot of healing. Yes.
Great stopwatch.
Oh my word, dodging 2 ultimates there. It's very nice. It's very fancy, but he still falls down.
Yeah, it looked good. It looked great. But in the end, it is going to be very much except a wasted stopwatch. Chikari and NG are able to take him out. And you have to ask the question, if Shogun had stayed, could that have gone differently? If Shogun had been there to back him up, I think they could have killed NG with an ultimate. So, in my opinion, it was a split call. It was a mistake from MnM. But in the end, Fnatic are able to punish and get that shutdown gold.
Just a simple demonstration of communication is key, and probably more important than mechanics can be at some times.
Shogun played it smart, though. Now he's going to be able to pick up that mid farm in return, though. We'll give it over to Nalty. NG once again heading towards his top side. Only Angel doesn't have his flash.
Yeah, the
no ult.
Sejuani ultimate should be easy to land here, especially coming through with all of the CC. They might not even need to use it, and they don't.
Didn't have it up, so didn't even have that option, but it's an easy setup, and once again, Fnatic showing the amount of power they have between these 2 CC powerhouses. Riftel's going to come down, and it looks like MnM are going to try and make a play bot on Maddie in return.
Here we go, ultimate comes down, true stop barrage is available for him, but once again, not needing it. Nalty picks up the kill. Meanwhile, in the top lane, there is that Herald hammering away, getting all of that plating gold.
Yeah, getting the play in, and they should be able to push that Herald into the next tower and get another headbutt in. There's a good movement on ulti to punish Xmighty, but in the end, they still end up losing that first tower top lane.
The people dancing around mid lane here, but I think will probably come of it. And in the top lane, they actually got the second charge off of the Herald, which is pretty significant.
Yeah, it leaves it as an open option later, and as much as everyone watching might be thinking, why, it's an Ornn, he's not going to split push. At this point, I think Chikari could split push if he wanted to. He is going where no Ornn has gone before.
In the lead, in the lane. No, it happens sometimes, but into a Jace? It's really surprising, but it's just a testament to how well Fnatic have been playing this top side.
But it's just Chikari as well. He likes to go towards his own pick when no one else does, and I think the base damage is just so huge that a lot of people get caught off guard. They expect it's an Ornn. He's going to be similar to a Maokai. I can just beat him up and he won't do anything in return. But in actuality, the Ornn can throw some damage back in return.
I think a lot of people remember how old Ornn used to be way before the nerfs to his W, and people read the patch notes, saw no one play him, and didn't realize he still does quite a bit. Yes, it's not as strong as it used to be, but he can still kill you, as evident.
I mean, the thing is that they balanced it because they made his ult less broken, because he doesn't just like perma-slow from mal away. He's just coming in.
Onto NG, and he's getting CC'd up, locked up by Shogun. I don't think he got the execute, but it's still a kill for MnM.
Still a kill, so, and Prosper.
Yeah, he's getting stunned up and engaged on, so he's going to fall. Poor positioning.
Yeah, and now it's 5 against 3 on the map. MnM are pushing up, and Nalty might have found Magic Felix. He will just dash away.
In the mid lane, there's no minions for MnM as of yet, so they can't push this advantage quite yet. But, you know, with 2 people still being dead for Fnatic, I think they should be able to get this mid turret.
Yeah, by all means. Wave clear is pretty limited between them, but looks like they are going to be scared off, and they will just look for the recall. They have a ton of gold, and they will pick up that Cloud Dragon as an extra objective. We'll get a quick look at those goal differences. There is a massive one in the top lane towards Chikari, but other than that, across the board, jungle's even, but everywhere else is like 1,000 gold lead for mid and the bot lane. It's massively significant, especially when yeah, you look at the champions, the Pyke and the Cassiopeia. They are really strong scaling champions.
And I want to say you and I both predicted MnM as our tower champions this week.
Yep.
So this is positive for us.
It's a good start, absolutely.
You know, coming into it, we're like, you know what? It's been Fnatic, it's been XL multiple times. Let's get something spicy. This is
MnM's week. This is MnM's week, you know. And I like that they very quickly adapted to the changes in the patch. The fact that they're bringing out this Cassiopeia AP carry. It is something that I'd seen you potentially talk about. He does really favor the Cassiopeia and does see himself as a bit of a multi-role talent who can flex to other areas. So the fact he's able to play mages isn't too much of a surprise. And I think the problem is as well is that Matty and Prosper have taken a bot lane that is really strong in the early phases. Its laning power is great, but it doesn't scale massively well. Yeah. And my big concern is that they kind of into the early levels, so it's not a good position to put yourself in. And look at the item difference. You have that Rylai's out already for Yusa, which is a huge spike, and that Seraph's is going to be coming soon from stacking that up. Mighty will just be doing a tiny amount of damage in comparison, even when he stacks that Mirror Mana. And the problem is you have so much health on the Cassiopeia because you built a Rylai. You're going to have that shield from the Seraphs. Really hard to punish it. And again, that short-range miasma means Magifelix will struggle to get on top of the Snake Lady.
Absolutely. You might see her playing this top lane. Fnatic hugging into this bush. Gibbs might get caught out here, heading onto the turret. And they're looking for Nolty to back away. Indeed, they do. Both ultimates are coming down. And they are going to connect onto him. Teleport is a bit late. Chibs will indeed fall. That's a shutdown. But oh, why is Yusa so low? Double kill now coming through for NG. And this is going pretty sour now for Fnatic by the looks of things. Oh, going golden, avoiding the execute coming through there. Only Angel getting blown up by Shikari. Shogun trying to see what he can do with that Bone Skewer, but his teammates are falling around him. They do get one kill onto Prosper now. Can they make it into more as Magifelix comes from the river? Nolty flashing it away. And I think he's able to escape.
Yeah, they will be able to get away, they will get chased down, but what was MnM doing? Just as the game seemed completely in their control, they go for a sort of questionable teleport play, trying to save Chibs. Chibs still dies, and then Yusa just dies with him. Hoping we get a replay to see what Yusa was doing there, but Magifelix.
This is dangerous from him. I'm not sure he knew it was a 1v2. Well, I assume he does, but he's just been very confident there.
Yeah, I feel like maybe he actually won that 1v2. He's pretty strong right now.
Aatrox does world ender.
Yeah, but still spiked pretty heavily in the mid game. A lot of CDR available. Yeah, so just waiting for that replay to come in, see what happened with Yusa's teleport.
I think one thing to mention, 5 kills onto NG right now. You're getting a lot of kills on Fnatic in response where maybe you shouldn't be considering how the early game went so ahead in MnM's favor, but all of the gold's onto NG right now.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you'll become super bulky, but you're up against a Cassiopeia who is an amazing tank shredder. Sometimes when you take these AP mages in the bot lane, you're going to struggle later on because you can't cut through tanky members, but Cassiopeia is not one of those AP mages. She'll absolutely shred anyone, and I think NJ, I expect to see an adaptive helm come out pretty soon because you're going to need it up against the sustained damage of that Cassio.
I guess the question we have to ask here, what do you have to do as only Angel now? What is your route back into this game?
Pick a farm, be a threat, look for poke on the backline. If you get some poke on a Prosper X Mighty, it will still really hit. He's going to struggle doing much else. I mean, at least he has some CC. He has the knockbacks. Worst case scenario, he just stands on top of Yusa, and if anyone comes near, knocks him away. But landed a little bit of poke there, but X Mighty, with that extra armor from the X1 Gauntlet, just managed to shake it off.
I guess, yeah, I was going to say Prosper is probably like the weakest target that you can try and poke down, but even he's going to have shields, so yeah. It's not really anyone that you're looking to land that poke on, so it's just fire it at will and see who it hits on Fnatic, and probably not do much with it, but that's okay because your teammates are fed.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a Cassiopeia who's popping off, you have a Pyke who's pretty strong.
Right, we've got another dragon spawning. This is a mountain. Neither of these teams already have it, so it still results in very fast barons, but we're not going to see those games where you've got 2 mountains on one team and it gets absolutely melted, but it's still worth fighting over for both of these teams. We really have to see how the engage comes through here. Nolty's already stolen the Glacial Prison, so that's certainly a good tool for MnM to find this engage, but I want to say that Fnatic probably have a better time starting the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. They have great engage, and the problem is Yusa, although we're talking about how great he will be when he scales up, he's really going to struggle to pump through this front line right now. NG and Shikari are really tanky, and Nolty is just playing with fire a bit there. Looks like both teams are positioned to teamfight over this dragon. The front line of Fnatic is so strong.
Very, very tanky. NG has such a big health bar, having the Warmogs already completed. There's someone you don't want to poke out at NG because he'll probably just heal it back up. I think he's already past that checkpoint of where you can get the passive from the Warmogs. Let's see how this unfolds. Of course, mid priority and bot priority is what you need to be able to start up these sorts of plays. And now Nolty will engage onto that Mountain Drake.
Yeah, they are going to start pretty quickly, but Fnatic are moving to contest. And they might just end up giving this up. Engage comes in.
All the forward work comes through, but blue team have already secured the Dragon, so this fight seems like I don't think Fnatic should go for it. It's nice front to back for MnM so far. NG is getting decently low. Nolty goes golden as the two-shot barrage does a lot of damage, but Magic Felix is looking for the flank. A huge ultimate from Yusa, but he's still falling anyways. And there's a trade of the Dragon for 2 kills.
Oh, Shogun's actually looking for the ult here.
Yeah, he's going in. This is a 2v1 at the moment. Shogun making sure there's a stall out, and he missed his ultimate. But we look back at the bot side here, and we see Magic Felix has found Shikari. He's come for the support, and so Shogun falls.
Yeah, and a big shutdown going over to Crossfire there. Not the most impactful member, but Shogun got overconfident. The teamfight coordination wasn't there, and as much as the front to back started well, there just wasn't enough damage to cut through this front line of Fnatic. They really struggled to find the momentum, and a lot of control going over to Fnatic there. They don't get the Dragon, but they're going to get a couple of towers.
I questioned if Fnatic should have gone for that fight, considering the Dragon had already fallen, but Magic Felix just had such good positioning off to the side, and they had such a good start to the fight that it was like, yes, Fnatic, they can do this. And there you go, swinging the gold into their favor, actually.
Yeah, we'll get a little breakdown of what happened in the fight. So everyone's positioned in a really rough way for MnM because they have those two tanks who are looking flank. Shikari gets a great ult, which knocks up Yusa. And then things look favorable because Chibs is pushing forward, but he's only really hitting Shikari and NG, and they're so tanky. And then Nolty, he does what he can, but eventually he's forced to stopwatch. His team have to kite back. And then Yusa, he gets a great ult here, but it's just not enough. It's too little, too late. And now the cleanup starts to come in. Shogun, he sees Crossfire on low HP. He wants to look for that ult execute, but it's not nice to see this again. He dashes over the wall, finds Crossfire, then he tries to go for the ult and just misses it. Great moves from Crossfire to sidestep, but in the end, if you don't connect the ult, it's never going to be a good time.
Shogun probably would have benefited from just waiting out the shield there.
I mean, the shield doesn't matter if you're going to execute.
Well, yeah, but the movement speed is an impactful thing.
The only concern is that instantly Crossfire ulti, then used his tether to heal up, so he would have got out the threshold. I think maybe he should have gone for the ult when he nearly walked up that bush at the start, and that could have been the turning point, but in the end, goes down. It's still not over by any means for MnM. Cassiopeia definitely going to scale up really well. Right now in the mid game, it's hard to cut through these tanks. Tanks are just so strong in the mid game, because just no one really has the damage to cut through them. But there will come a point where the bruisers can withstand the tank's damage, and Yusa will be able to just shred through them. But for now, the front line of Fnatic just seems unstoppable.
I think we're looking for the Leandries onto Yusa as the big break point in which they're able to try and start melting through that front line. Having the % health damage from that is quite nice on the burn, and also the % increase of damage.
Yeah, as well, once you start getting things like the Void Staff, the Rabadons, you can really just pump through the tanks. And even with things like an Adaptive Helm, they will start to get shredded pretty quickly in the later stages. But it means you're waiting for such a long time before you hit this point. Fnatic, they do need to keep the momentum going because their damage does fall off pretty hard later on. Ezreal, not the most significant late game carry. And although Aatrox can be monstrous in team fights, the Miasma really shuts him down.
Absolutely. All right, looking at teleports, everyone but Xmatis is up, but his is probably the most irrelevant here. We're not going to see him in the side lane anyways. He'll be wherever the action occurs. So we'll probably see some sort of like 4-1, 1-3-1 situation occurring for a while until a team goes, either we're going for Dragon because it's spawned, or it's time to fight around Baron now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like the Baron's easy to start for Fnatic because they can tank it for so long. They're almost invincible. But I feel like the concern for me isn't so much that, but the fact that if they end up getting corralled into that pit, they're going to be very vulnerable against the team comp of MnM. So that's why they don't want to instantly start it up, despite the fact they can tank it pretty easily. But it does mean that the longer this game goes on, the more concerned I get about the scaling for MnM. Yeah, tanky frontline's great, but if there comes a point when there's enough penetration on the carries, and it doesn't matter how tanky you are, you just tend to get cut through.
Yeah, for sure. Only Angel, he's up in CS by what's starting to be a decent margin, so that's good for him, but Fnatic, they're forcing onto this Baron now. There's no vision available for MnM by the looks of things. Shogun off in the wings is going to be able to get that blue trinket, scouts it out. Shogun does dissuade them, as they aren't able to catch him on the side.
And that's the thing, is that Fnatic are still full health.
Yes.
They lost nothing from that play apart from some tempo and control of the map. doing? Just gets blown up.
Bye, Shogun.
Yeah, and just oversteps on this Pyke. Thinks he can do whatever he wants because of his mobility. He gets punished here. Now Fnatic heading over the Mountain Dragon. Definitely going to be a big asset for the later stages. Looks like in return, MnM actually just start up the Baron, and True Shot Barrage will call them out. But they have a Mountain. If they get the Cassiopeia, this could get burned through very quickly.
All right, Shikari has the teleport available. They're looking for where he wants to go to. That ward being placed does force MnM to retreat off of it. Fnatic didn't get the Mountain Drake, though.
Yeah, that's the big thing. They pull them off the Mountain Dragon. It gives time for Shogun to respawn, who's now up. With the mobility boots, he'll be back soon.
Oh, Nolty finds the Glacial Prison onto Prosper.
And he's just shut down. Remember, shut down gold because of that kill he picked up earlier. So a lot more gold going over the side of MnM. It looks like NG will potentially look to just solo this Dragon out, but Nolty's moving over. He doesn't want to give this one up for free. Double Mountain with the Cassiopeia is huge.
They found it. Yusa has spotted them and does have the miasma, which could really, really, you know, mess up Fnatic's attempts to try and come back, in which it does there. Can't use your Q as Sejuani. Oh, dive. Oh, Magic Felix looking to get an outplay onto Only Angel. Forces him to flash away. Ignite ticking. Does not secure the kill. Chibs under the turret right now. Should just back away. Okay. Only Angel's starting to do a bit of damage now. Nolty.
Yeah, absolutely. Shikari.
Engaging onto Shikari. All of the Forge God just floats on by, and now we've got knockups coming through. Shikari flashes away. Nolty's own Call of the Forge God is onto 2. NG is the front line though. He's so tanky. Nolty goes golden, flashes away to make sure Xmati can't get the kill. Chibs going forwards, but retreats as well. No one's dying.
No one's dying at all, and that's the power of this tanky front line from Fnatic. Still strong enough to withstand, but a lot of things burn, and MnM starting to pull things back in their favor. Double Mountain means they can essentially just double kill.
Oh, what? Xmati does so much damage with that Gunblade onto Shogun.
That's what's a really scary thing, is that it often feels like you're hard to kill on Pyke because of the mobility you have, but you can get bursted down so quickly because you can't build that HP up. Resistances aren't really the go-to for him for the most part. You want to build that damage, so he's very vulnerable. And some great plays coming out from that team fight. Nolty's Ornal, which ended up knocking NG out the dash. I thought it could have meant the death of him, but still just not enough damage to cut through these tanks right now. They need more penetration. I think Yusa picked up that blasting one, is looking towards that Void Staff, and you need it to be able to cut through this front line.
Just so tanky. And now MnM with that double mountain, they're the ones who will just melt this Baron. Fnatic have to guarantee they never lose vision of it.
That's the thing, is that you can essentially just two-man it. You have someone tank it, and so Yusa doesn't have reduced damage, and then Yusa can just burn through it with double mountains in such a quick time period. The one downside is you burn a lot of mana, and the person who tanks it will take a lot of damage. And
just, Shogun, that's the second time now. That's
greedy for a pink ward.
Yeah. It's just too dangerous.
Yeah, and I think you overestimate how strong you are as a Pyke, because normally you're hard to pin down, you're hard to catch, but you're so squishy. And now Fnatic gonna look to start this Baron. They don't have any mountains themselves, but the TP's coming in. They are committing for this play.
I don't think you can contest this. Only Angel doesn't have his teleport, so he's having to run over. It's a bit of a slow Baron, so we might be able to make it in time. Still a 4v5 though, regardless as Shogun is dead. Nolty has the Glacial Prison. If he wants to use it, True Shot Barrage does a lot of damage onto Yusa, who gets locked up as well by NG. Chibs on the side of the fight is looking to escape, and now Nolty with Only Angel are backing away, but Fnatic gets them, and they will get the Baron.
They finally engage, and that's the crucial thing. You shut down the Cassiopeia, and there's very little she can do. They're going to look to try and contest this again, but I feel like it's even less favorable than it was before. Only Angel looking to find some poke potentially. The Baron's reset, but these tanks take no damage.
I don't know how you're able to steal this one. You're not going to beat them in the 3v5. They're not getting low enough for resets on Shogun's ultimate, and now Only Angel falls.
They just take no damage from the Baron. It's just so low risk. MnM came to contest, but Yusa gets caught out, having no flash, and now Fnatic, they're going to easily be able to pick up this Baron. Massive objective for them to take, and now a 5,000 gold lead.
Prosper gets caught out. He does have NG by his side if they want to go for this. Xmati is there too. Chibs forcing the flash away, and teleport does come through from Yusa now. Miasma down onto NG. Use the ultimate as well, only onto one target. This is going really sour for MnM now, and Yusa will fall. Shogun just about escaping by the looks of things, as Xmati is playing the front line for Fnatic right now, and he does find Chibs.
And it just feels like Matty is doing so much damage. He's almost invincible, and against all these squishy targets in MnM, he can just cut through them. They're unable to find access onto him. And he's going to start taking the objectives with his Baron back in the mob.
Can they end the game here? Both Chibs and Yusa are dead. They might be able to, and they might look for it. His ulti is getting blown up immediately. Golden, but it doesn't save him. Only Angel retreating, and he goes down as well. Shikari doing what he's been doing all game and destroying only Angel. Fnatic are looking to round out this game against MnM. They did not defend the tower earlier on, but they're looking to reclaim it again as they take down their first victory in this round of 8.
You should see MnM trying to make something happen.
The respawns. It's just not enough, really. Shogun gets the assassination onto a tank, but you have Xmati dealing damage to the Nexus, and they do win the game.
And that was the first cut that Shogun got all game right at the end. And it meant nothing. It just felt like although they had a nice concept with the bot lane, their top lane got destroyed. They never really got the momentum going, and their team fight to coordination wasn't there. Fnatic played like a well-oiled machine. They shut down the targets they needed to, and they absolutely deserved that victory. We said maybe the Cassiopeia can get late in the game. If Shogun's Pike can get shutdowns, they'll be able to get some footing in this game, but they just never really found it outside those early skirmishes. And Fnatic showed why they are a top 2 team.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, there was a point in the game where I was like, all of your kills are on NG right now. He's got 5 kills. That's not what you want. You want it on your damage dealer. It doesn't matter. He doesn't die.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, funnel the gold into him. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. And it just meant that he was invincible. He was just invincible. And we said, you know, there will come a stage where Yusa can cut through him, but he didn't have the positioning to back him up. He didn't have the damage yet. He didn't have that void stuff when the game ended, and they never found the footing for that game. They got destroyed by Fnatic, and they will fall out this week in the first round, which is a pretty big hit for them.
And a pretty big hit for our predictions as well, I think that.
Yeah, rip.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's fine. But we'll be back shortly with the next game, which I have completely forgotten, but that's fine. It will be in the graphic.
Yeah, Barrage and Vision, so see you soon.